Hi, I'm Ranger Braden.
And we are the Allegheny County Park Rangers. So we work in the 9 county parks, and we are out in the parks every day talking to the visitors, answering their questions, helping them in any way that we can. We are in the parks planting trees or building new trails for you to hike or mountain bike or even horseback ride. One of our favorite things that we get to do as park rangers is teach about the parks. So sometimes we have friends come to the parks and we teach there. Sometimes we have friends sometimes we go to friends' libraries or schools and teach, and sometimes we do videos like this so you can learn with us while you are at home. And today we are going to be talking about some of the different kinds of animals that live around our area. So we have some of the animals' furs and some of the animals' skulls that we are going to show you. And if you have any questions at any point in time, feel free to ask us, and hopefully we will be able to answer them for you. So our first animal that we are going to start with is this animal right here. And this is our friend, the skunk. And more specifically, it is a striped skunk. So when I held it up, you might have noticed the black fur and the white stripes, and that can help you to know that it is a skunk. Have Ranger Braden hold up our picture of the skunk. And our friend the skunk does something really special, but maybe something that we don't like so much. And it is that when the skunk gets really scared, it can actually lift its tail and spray a really, really bad smelling spray. And the skunk does that to defend itself. So if it feels like something is going to come and try to hurt it, or if an animal may be trying to eat it, then that is whenever the skunk sprays. But the skunk doesn't want to have to spray, because they have to make that spray, and it takes a lot of time and energy. So they might stomp their hands and try to scare an animal away. They might wave their tail in the air and say, if you keep doing that, something really bad is going to happen to you. And then if they absolutely have to, then they will go ahead and spray. And the spray is really strong and smells really bad. And if an animal gets sprayed directly in the eyes, it can actually go blind for a little bit of time. The spray is so strong. But I also want to show you the skunk's skull. So this is the skunk's head bone. And you can see some of its teeth are missing, but it has some of its teeth in its skull. And it has some sharp teeth in the front and some flatter teeth in the back. The flat teeth in the back help it to eat different fruits or vegetables or plants, and the sharper teeth in the front can help it to bite meat. And one of skunk's favorite things to eat is insects. So Ranger Braden is going to go ahead and show you our next animal.
Okay, here is our next animal. A lot of folks out there have probably seen this sometime. You may see them at nighttime along the side of the road. You might see them in a park. But one of the things that people often at times find this animal is going through their trash can looking for some food at night. So if you have probably guessed it already by now, but this is our raccoon. So raccoons are really cool. I'm going to have a picture of one here that Ranger Elise can hold up. And they're pretty easily identifiable. They're pretty big. They can get up to 30 plus pounds. But the things that most people notice about them are their tails. They have this ringed tail that all raccoons have. So it has this lighter color with the darker color stripes on it that just goes down their tail. The rest of their body is kind of this grayish color with some more dark colors down the back. And then the other really noticeable feature about the raccoon is the dark spot across its eyes. It's like a stripe right across their face, which actually helps them reduce glare and can help them see a little bit better at night. Just like a football player or a baseball player would have, put some paint underneath their eyes to help reduce glare. But that also gives them a nickname. A lot of people say raccoons are bandits, and that's because they have this little bandit mask on, or because they're stealing your food from your trash can, or maybe even a picnic basket if you left some food outside. So raccoons eat a variety of things. They'll eat just about anything. And we'll take a look at the skull of a raccoon here. Bring it a little bit closer so you can all see it. You can see they have these pointy teeth in the front, little flat but still sharp teeth here. These are for ripping, tearing, and cutting meat. But then in their back teeth, they have sort of flatter teeth that are for grinding plants and seeds and things like that. And that's because raccoons are omnivores, just like people. So just like us, they can eat meat and plants, and they keep both of them in their diets. And then the last thing I want to show you for the raccoon is this little mold that we have of the raccoon paw. Now, the thing I want you to notice about the raccoon's paw is it looks just like my hand, only a little bit smaller. And why that's important is because the raccoons, not all animals have hands like we do. Some have little flat paws, some have more elongated things. But raccoons, they've got the 5 fingers and they can work their hands just like us. So they can use them just like us. It's great for climbing, it's great for grabbing things. And one of the things that they're also known for that people see them do is washing their food off in the water. So you'll see them down at the edge of a pond or a stream sometime with food, and they're working that food around in their hand in the water because they have, these great hands that work very well for that. So Ranger Elise is going to talk about our next animal.
Our next friend is this animal right here. And this animal has a really pretty red fur and a really big bushy tail. And this is our red fox. So maybe Brady's going to show a picture of our red fox. And you can see, like I said, they get their name from their red fur. And their fur is really warm and their tail is really bushy because foxes are out hunting for their food all year round. So they're out in the wintertime in the snow hunting for little mice in the snow, so they have to make sure that they are staying warm. And you can see in the picture, the fox has these really big ears, and that helps the fox whenever it's hunting. The fox has a really good sense of hearing. They can hear mice sort of scampering on the ground, and they get really low. They sneak up on the mouse, they jump almost straight up into the air, and then they land on top of their food. And they use their really big bushy tail almost like a blanket. So in the wintertime, whenever they curl up to sleep, they can put their tail over their nose to help keep them warm. Let me go ahead and show you the fox's skull. It's a little bit different than some of the other skulls that we saw. The fox has a lot sharper teeth the whole way back. And the fox will eat plants and meat, but prefers to eat meat. So all of its teeth are sharp so that it can bite and chew that meat. So you can see they have some pretty big sharp teeth up here and sharp teeth kind of the whole way back. But we have another kind of fox friend that also lives around here, which is this guy right here. And if our first fox was called the red fox, this fox is called the gray fox. And the gray fox is really interesting because the gray fox is the only member of the canine or dog family that can climb trees. So the gray fox has specialized wrist bones that allows it to climb trees. So it eats a little bit of a different diet than some of the other foxes because it can get up into trees. Maybe it eats more birds or bird eggs or squirrels or chipmunks. But both of our fox friends are members of the canine or dog family. So they're kind of cousins to dogs that you might have at home as pets.
All right, our next animal that I have is very special, and it's going to have the most unique traits out of all the animals that we show you today. So we'll take a look. And again, just like our friend the raccoon, the opossum, which is who I'm holding here today, can be found really just about anywhere, in parks, along the road, in town. You're going to find opossums just about anywhere that they can find food. And they will eat a variety of foods similar to the raccoon. So they will eat plants, they'll eat bugs, they'll eat meat, they'll get into your trash. So they're a very common mammal that we have. But one of the things that makes them very special are 2 adaptations that they have that are quite different from all the other mammals that we have in this area. Elise is going to show you a picture of our opossum friend here. So I think they're really neat looking. They're kind of different. They've got this big white base and longer hair on the back of their bodies. You can see their hands are equipped for climbing, so they can get up into trees very easy. And it's a little difficult to see, and our skin doesn't have one, but on the back of this opossum here, they have a long tail. They're usually, they can get pretty long. They have a little bit of hair on them, but they're basically a smooth, hairless tail that would hang down about this long. Just like the rest of our animals, they all have tails, but the unique thing about the opossum's tail is it is a prehensile tail. Now that's a big word, but what that means is just like monkeys, they can move that tail around and wrap it around tree branches. So it actually helps them climb, and they can use it like a fifth arm to just go ahead, wrap around, and hold on to that tree branch to give themselves some stability. And then if they lose their grip with their other paws, they still have that extra brace at the tail. So that's a really neat feature that the opossums have that none of our other mammals have. The other really cool feature that the opossum has, maybe Ranger Elise can show us the other picture here, has to do with the opossum babies. So the opossum babies are really neat. They're born very tiny, much more tiny and less developed, so they don't have the fur on them, their eyes aren't open, than other mammals are born. And the reason that the opossums can do that is, and we can't see it here, but they have a pouch on their belly. Just like a kangaroo, you're probably familiar with a kangaroo. They're a marsupial, and it means that they have a pouch and that they can keep their babies inside that pouch. So all these little possum babies, which are pretty adorable, I think, live in the pouch to start off their life, and then later they'll climb up onto Mama Opossum's back, and they'll just kind of hang on there and go along for the ride for a while until they're big enough to get out on their own. So they've got those really cool features. If you see an opossum, remember they have the prehensile tail, so it means it can wrap around stuff and hold on, and they have that pouch. Just like a kangaroo, they're our only marsupial in this area, and that means their babies grow up inside that little pouch. And then the last thing I want to show you for our opossum is the opossum skull. Now, it's a little smaller and more streamlined and narrow than our raccoon skull. You can look at the teeth. Very similar to the raccoon. They've got these cutting teeth up front, tearing teeth, and then the grinding teeth in the back, because like I said before, they are opportunists. They eat just about everything. One important thing that they do eat a lot of are ticks. So if you see an opossum hanging out, they are good guys, and they're out there eating ticks and other bugs that might bother you in the summertime. But their teeth, there are a ton of them in here. I mean, look at all those up in the front there. They have 50 teeth, which is almost double what most other mammals have, and they have the most teeth of any mammal in our area. So that's kind of a really neat little fun fact of them. They've got a ton of teeth. They eat just about everything, and you can find them around your house, in town, outside the city, in our parks, just about anywhere that you go.
Friend is this guy right here, and this animal likes to live in the water. So it spends half of its life in the water and half of its life on land. And this is a beaver. So Ranger Braden will hold up the picture of our friend the beaver, and the beaver's fur is really interesting. Because the beaver spends half of its life in water, it actually has 2 layers of fur. So let's see if I can get close enough that we can see. It has this really soft fur underneath that kind of acts like a coat for the beaver to keep it warm, and then these longer hairs on top. And the beaver actually coats those hairs in almost like an oil, and it kind of allows the beaver to be waterproof. So if the beaver is in the water in February, it's really warm under hairs, keeping it really warm, like as a coat on, and its hairs, its longer hairs, its guard hairs are keeping it kind of waterproof, like it has a raincoat on whenever it's in the water. And the beaver also has something special about its eyes because it lives in the water. So we all have eyelids. We can close our eyes and our eyelids. Beavers have 2 sets of eyelids. They have one like us, and they have one that's clear. So So they can close their clear eyelid and be able to see as they swim, kind of like they have a built-in pair of goggles. And our beaver's skull is very different looking than some of our others and is very interesting. It has these really long teeth in the front, and that is because beavers like to chew down trees. So they use these really, really long teeth to chew down trees to help them make their beaver dams and beaver lodges. And their teeth have this orangish color because there is actually iron in the enamel that covers their teeth to make their teeth so strong. And they actually have to chew on trees because if they didn't, their teeth would continue to grow for their entire life. And they have to keep them trimmed down because if they grew enough, they wouldn't be able to open their mouth anymore. So they chew on trees so that they can feed on the layer underneath the bark. They can build their dams and lodges, but also so that they can keep their teeth trimmed down. And they have some other teeth in the back that are flat teeth because beavers only like to eat plants. So they don't eat any meat, so they don't necessarily need those really sharp and pointy teeth. They have these flat teeth, and then they're really big teeth in the front. And one more thing from the beaver that I want to show you is the beaver's tail. So the beaver uses its tail for a lot of different things. It can help it change directions whenever it is swimming in the water. But the one main thing that the beaver uses its tail for is talking to its family. So maybe there is an animal on shore that the beaver thinks may hurt it or its family. So the beaver will slap its tail on the water, and that lets everybody know that there is something dangerous nearby, and everybody should swim into the beaver lodge or the beaver home so that they can escape and stay safe. Ranger Braden is going to go ahead and share our last animal with you.
So our last animal is going to be our biggest animal of the day. If you've seen one of these, you probably remember it, especially around Allegheny County or the city of Pittsburgh. We don't see them too often, but they're becoming more popular in our area. And this is the North American black bear. So Ranger Elise can hold a picture of him up. North American black bears get really big. So our average, probably around 250, 300 pounds, but they can get upwards of 800 plus pounds. That is a big bear. We don't have any other animals on the table today that get that big. Thankfully, that's kind of okay, because if a beaver was 800 pounds, it would look kind of weird. So we've got this large mammal that lives in our forest. It's one of the largest wild mammals that we have in the state of Pennsylvania. And it has some really unique traits that we'll be able to take a look at. Maybe Ranger Elise can grab his back leg here so we can stretch him out a little bit. And take a look at really how big it is. And this is probably a younger bear. It's not a very big one. It was probably around a couple hundred pounds. But all of our black bears have some unique features that we're going to take a look at. They have this really nice, thick fur, and that keeps them warm year-round. It actually helps keep some of the bugs off of them, too. And they have really nice, big claws, which I'll bring a little closer to the camera here so we can zoom in on those. You can see the claws still here on our pelt. Now, a lot of people think, whenever we show them the black bear or they learn about black bears, that the claw is actually used for killing prey. But that's not true. Black bears are actually pretty lazy. They don't like to go and hunt or chase down deer. They might eat a sick or injured animal or find something that has been killed by something else or has gotten sick and died and eat that. But they are omnivores, just like people, and 50% of their diet is made up of berries and nuts. And the other 50% is made of meat. It could be mammal meat, it could be fish, or it could be insects. And one of the main things they use these claws for is to use them to tear open the bark of dead trees and find insects inside, because they really like to eat bugs, and it's an easy source of food for them. So bears really like nuts, berries, grasses, fish, Oftentimes, in places like Pennsylvania where we have a lot of farms that grow corn, you'll find bears in the late summer and early fall feeding almost all on corn out in the fields. So they take every opportunity they can to find food, and they'll eat just about anything that they can find. So we'll take a look at the skull. And you can see, again, quite different than the rest of our animals, but also, just like everybody else that we talked about that eats both meat and plants, they've got these sharp teeth up front and these flat teeth for grinding the vegetation and the nuts in the back there. So they have a very big skull, and they have a very powerful bite. And one of the things that I think is cool that we can really see on the black bear skull is this little bone that sticks out. And I'm going to give you another big word. This is called a sagittal crest. And that is an area where the muscles that connect from the jaw connect onto the top of the skull, and it gives it extra biting power. So if you felt the back of your head should feel pretty smooth and flat, but the back of a bear head has this little piece that sticks up and makes their bite even stronger. So that's a pretty cool feature that we can see on the bear skulls. And the last thing we'll take a look at are the paws. And they have pretty big feet, pretty distinctive tracks. So if you see, you can see they're about as big as my hand. So if you see these anywhere, you'll know that a black bear has been around. And you can easily see their claws in the tracks too. And like I said, they aren't really common in our area, but I live in Penn Hills, and we just had a black bear in our community last week. So there are black bears around here, and you could see them, whether you're in a park or maybe even in your backyard. And they, just like raccoons and opossums, do like to get into people's trash. Okay. All for our black bear.
All right, great. So, does anybody have any questions about any of the animals that we talked about today?
So maybe while we wait for those to come in, I have a question. Where did you guys get all of these skins and skulls, and are they all real?
So, we got the skins and skulls, not very exciting, but we ordered them on the internet, but all of our skins are real. So they are from real animals, they're real furs, and we use them so we can teach about those animals in a safe way, and we don't have to bring a raccoon in who probably doesn't want to hang out with us, even though we're really cool, all day long whenever we are teaching. So this way, we get to learn about the animals and see them, but we don't have to bring in real live animals. And for the skulls, some of the skulls are real, some of the skulls are replicas, so they are made to look real, but they aren't real skulls. Some of the skulls we also ordered online, but some of the skulls we've actually found out in the woods whenever we've been in the different parks, and then we clean them, and sometimes we use those to teach with as well. So if you see a skull outside, you can look at it, you probably don't want to touch it, but we were talking a lot about animals' teeth, and that's one way to try to identify what different kinds of animals are. If you see a lot of flat teeth, they probably ate plants. If you see some sharp teeth, they probably ate plants and meat, and if you see all sharp teeth, it's probably a meat eater.
Thank you. So I have another question. So you guys are park rangers, and you clearly teach classes to kids. What other kinds of things do park rangers do?
So park rangers, we have a whole bunch of different things that we do out in the parks. One of our jobs is to patrol the parks. So walk around the parks, interact with visitors, ask them any questions, answer any questions that they have for us, provide them with any information, maybe directions if they need it, and any help if they need any help from us. We basically are out in the parks, and we want the parks to be the best that they can be for all of the visitors who come to the parks. But we also are out in the parks, maybe hosting some cleanups. So we have people who come and join us who want to clean up the park, and we clean up litter together. We like to build new trails, maybe work on trails that are already there so that you can go hiking or mountain biking in the parks. And we teach a lot of programs. Some of our programs are like this, but some of our programs anybody can come to, and we teach them out in the parks. So if you look on the Allegheny County website, you can see our public programs that we offer that are free, and you can come and learn about different things in the parks with us.
That was great. Friends, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
all
for
of you
having
for
us.
hanging out with us.
All right, have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.